I like the description.
Well, it is a roof box by the looks of things. So, Gaz, what really are the key things that the judges are looking for today?
So the key criteria that the judges will be working from will be the difficulty of the tricks, the execution, the amplitude on the kickers, the landing, and how well they actually flow between each feature, and also the variety. So they'll be looking for different grabs, spinning and sliding in different directions, so not always just going left, but a mixture of left, right, and also the switch directions as well.
So we're just waiting on a score for Korida from Japan. Scores in now 52.6. That's the early benchmark there. Got 8 more women to go. 3 Japanese skiers through to finals here. Chio Takao, also from Japan, dropping in on her first run, setting up for the first rail. And now coming into the first of the jumps. Lands that left 540, sets herself up, switch.
So coming into the second jump, it's a switch left 540. So back-to-back fives to kind of kick the run off, which is really nice. Combo in between those two tricks. Into the next rail feature, onto the right ski slide. Locks it a lot better than we've just seen from a companion.
Yeah, it's just a little bit clean. It's still a few little wobbles in the air, but she hasn't had this hand plant or slipping off any rails. Going for the cannon rail towards the end of the run. We've got one more feature to go. I think all the athletes are going to want to do that. It's pretty cool.
A little Japan grab off.
Yeah, you got to. So 2 athletes down to just about full pools there, which is good to see. Started her off nicely on the top rail.
And I think we'll see the judges rewarding that as well. Locked in on all the rails. Higher level of difficulty spins on the jumps as well, with that switch left 5 and the standard left 5. Just missing the grab out on the left 3 mute towards the end of a run, unfortunately, but a good run to start things off.
65.2 puts her in the top spot for now, and if she can just clean up a little bit cleaner with the grabs, then certainly that score could improve. Giorgia Bertoncini now from Italy, dropping in on her first run here in Jyväskylä.
So again, hitting that same rail feature at the top with the right ski slide, and into the left 360, just a little bit backseat on the landing there.
A little bit on the tails of the skis. Throwing a big 5 heavy landing there, though that's not quite the plan that she was after.
And unfortunately, that revert coming from switch back into forward will cost her a little bit with the judges. That's what they want to see when we're talking about the flow between the features. It's landing switch and hitting the next one switch as well.
Love in the backflip though. The run's got away from her a little bit just with that mistake. As you say, Gaz, on the revert tonight. She's keeping it going. She's going to go for the car as well. I don't know if you win the car at the end of the day.
That'd be a nice prize, wouldn't it?
Would be very nice. So Bertoncini completes her first run. A few little mistakes in there though. She's not afraid to try here. She was on the tails just a little bit. There was the backflip. It impresses the crowds, but doesn't always impress the judges, does it?
No, unfortunately, it's still classed as a 360 degree of rotation. There is the added risk with the inversion, but a lot of judges might prefer to see a nice controlled 360 with the grab rather than the simple backflip.
So we're just waiting on the score to come in now for Bertoncini. .65 currently leads the way. And Bertoncini with a slightly longer wait here. Why do you judges always take so long, Gaz?
Well, we just like to have a discussion about a lot of the runs and, maybe grab an extra cup of tea or coffee when there's a bit of a break.
So it scores in now 54.4 into second spot. Well, I definitely think you earned that tea or coffee, so no complaints from me. Moving on to the fourth skier in finals, Camilla Vera from Chompery in Switzerland. 65.2 the score to beat, and the Swiss skier getting that ready to go. Switzerland, one of the first teams to really pull together a national team under the federation for free ski, And I think they're going to see the benefit of that over the years, particularly in the lead up to Sochi, and taking a different line here.
Yeah, really nice on that first rail. Just shows a bit more variety.
Yeah, floating that left 3 round nice as well. So Berra putting down a strong run, certainly the best we've seen so far. So Camilla Berra safely in the finish area on her first run. Really strong attempt, a few little problems on landing, but Camilla Berra amping up the difficulty on the first run. Throwing a big misty as well. So we'll get a score for Camilla Berra in just a moment's time. She's going to be happy with that first run. And 82.8, Camilla Berra into top spot. Superb first run for the Swiss skier. So from Slovakia, Natalia Slepeka next to go. New high score to be 82.8. And she's dropping in. Kick off. Our first run, good on that top rail.
And taking plenty of speed into that first jump. A huge left 7s. The difficulty really getting amped up here.
Into the right 3, so impressive so far from Slepeka.
And again, spinning in both directions as well. We saw left on the first jump, right on the second jump, and that 270 out of the rail as well.
That left side looks to be a unnatural side there, doesn't it?
Does. So 2 unnatural spins in one run really might say something to the judges here. And the front 2 out of the cannon pipe as well. That little revert, though, might be something that the judges will pull her down for.
Onto the down flat. Down's just coming off a fraction early, but from Slepeka there, we've seen some glimpses that she's gonna try and put a really technical run together. Put all of her skills on display, and that 720 was a great way to start the run.
Yeah, she got that mute grab in early on as well, and then slowed it down for the rest of the run. So really nice and controlled, and had that variety in there as well. Opting for that down flat down at the end of the run as well was a really interesting take, rather than perhaps taking the easier line. That's something the judges will definitely reward. Just perhaps getting hung up a little bit on that cannon pipe.
So Slepeka, don't think she's going to go above 82 to go into the lead, but we'll wait and get the confirmation. And guys, at the moment the judges will just be looking at their notes and chatting with each other, will they?
They will. They'll have watched practice over the last couple of days, and obviously they've seen the qualification go through to it. So it's just a case of getting yourself settled into that first run, leaving plenty of gaps between your scores so you've got places to fit in future riders as they come through. But a lot of it is just a game of high or low. The score doesn't necessarily matter. It's the rank at the end of the day that is the most important thing.
Well, 84.6, I was completely wrong. And probably not for the first time on the World Cup Tour. She goes into top spot, and the judges there rewarding the difficulty. I think, as you were saying there, Gaz, she was taking more risk in the run, and that's been rewarded.
Certainly, especially on the rails as well. That's where a lot of the riders can actually separate themselves. Some of the kicker tricks are a bit more similar, a bit more standard, but showing the difficulty on the rails and the kickers really stands out.
So we move on. Ami Okuba from Japan. Landing switch there. She's motoring into this next jump.
Certainly no trouble of speed in these conditions. Into the switch left 3 as well. Another little revert just to get as much speed as she can in coming into this rail, so she's facing it forward. Slipping off a fraction early though again.
Going for the left 3. She's sitting back on landing, and that's where the score can really get scrubbed away.
And the bonk as well. Just a little tap with the skis. That's something else the judges like to see, is it being used as a feature, not just a kicker.
So, Okubo in the house after her first run, smiling. Conrad Rotermund points her in the right direction. Huge 5 to kick off the run, though.
Absolutely massive, and whilst it didn't look like there was a lot of major mistakes in there, it's all the little ones that'll just start to add up and they'll start to be deducted from the score and it'll have a big impact.
Yeah,
but some impressive skiing.
Some great skiing there, and she's going for the safety grab. The time's not quite getting the connection that she'd be after, but still, good first run. Slepeka leads for Slovakia. 84.6 her score. And 59.2 into 4th place for Okubo. And we've got 3 to go on this first run. Evelyn Bend up next for Switzerland. Still room to jump on to that podium. Of course, a 2-run contest. Best of the 2 runs will count in the final standings, and Evelyn Bend kicks off her first run here.
And again, back onto that down rail on the near side with that right slide coming in. Oh, left misty 7 and just hangs on. What's she got to follow with? And it's another 7. So back-to-back 7s now in 2 different axes, which is amazing to see. That progression meter is just going sky high into the right ski slide.
Yeah,
and
this
what she got to finish the rest of the run.
Going for the right 3 there.
So again, the difference in direction of rotation. Just left 3 with a nice little bonk.
A few little errors there that might cost her. Taking a different approach. Oh, that's a shame. A really strong run. Is going to be a few points going to be scrubbed away there right on the final hit, but that misty 7 was pretty special.
And although it looks like they're 2 very similar tricks, they're both 720s in the left direction, the difference in the initiation between the flat 7 that we saw on the second kicker and the misty 7 on the first kicker really separates them as 2 different tricks. It's such a shame she got all the way to the end of the run and it just fell apart on the landing.
So Evelyn Bend .72.8 into 3rd place. It could have been a little higher though. So she's got some work to do on the second run. So next up from Slovakia, Zuzana Stromkova gets the green light to start off her challenge here. Liking that start into the run, dropping into it, tuck position. Oh, this is nice.
Left roadie 7 on that first kicker, so another 720.
Oh, going for the back-to-back 7s, but little spot of bother there, and unfortunately that is the run. Well, it's not going to be over. She's going to continue down. We'll see if she chooses to take any more features.
But that was really nice to see. These 7s are starting to come in thick and fast now, so the standard and the progression is just getting higher and higher. And we've seen now 2 different runs with the back-to-back 7s. Zuzana on this run actually going rodeo 7, so throwing it over the side of her rather than the misty that we saw from the previous run, which is more over the front, kind of like a front flip kind of direction. So the difference there is also something the judges will like to see because it has a bit more of a style element in there as well.
Yeah,
and then nicely locked on that final rail as well.
She was, but here, just under rotating. A nasty fault. Ski stayed on though.
That's a horrible feeling when you're fully committed to the trick and the ground just comes up a fraction before you expect it to.
So Stromkova 26.6, but she knew that as soon as the fall happened that it wasn't going to be a competitive score on the first run. Lynn Idamurud now from Norway, from Lillehammer. Has hosted the 1994 Winter Olympic Games.
And just slipping off a fraction on that first early, so hasn't set her up brilliantly for the rest of the run, but
she's
into the left 7
Gone
though.
deep on that left 7, hasn't she?
No trouble for speed.
Into the right 3. And
So
this
again,
is
the 2 different directions, the boxes have been ticked there for the variety.
a nice run building here for Lenida Murud. With the 540, sets herself up, switch.
Into the switch slide, in, back to forward. Just one section to go.
Oh no! All goes wrong right at the end. We've seen a couple of athletes have problems there. And it's just that final bit of the run. That would have been up there in the top 3, of that I'm sure. What a way to kick off the run. Locked on the mute grab as well. Cute amplitude, a little on the heels on landing.
And then yeah, into that second direction with the left spin on that one. Grab safety. You can see the right ski, just missing it by a fraction. But the safety grab, that right hand going down to the edge of the right ski where the boot is.
So we've seen a lot of progression in that first run. 47 the score, still another chance. And I think, Gaz, as this sport progresses on its World Cup journey, we're just going to see the progression just keep getting better and better as we get a chance to look at the first run standings.
For sure. I think as more and more athletes get in and there's more nations involved with it being a World Cup, we're just going to see that almost the numbers game. The more skiers you put into the funnel, that progression will just keep pushing as all the skiers bounce off each other, get that vibe in, and they get really excited about other skiers' progression and want to replicate that and push it forwards themselves.
So we'll look back at the current top 3. Evelyn Bend in 3rd. She had a good run, but got to clean up the grabs a little bit for me, and she could certainly improve on the score. In 2nd place, Camilla Berra. High flying run. But again,
that flat 3 was beautiful.
Awesome stuff.
And there you can see the execution of the Misty 540 there. Going over that front shoulder and then that 720 to start the run.
And Slepeka leads the way. She had the cleanest run of all.
And that's often what it comes down to. A lot of the time as they try to progress that difficulty, the mistakes start to come in. So you want that first run to be nicely executed and really on par.
Get a chance to look at the start list for the men. 12 men in finals. A lot of everyone, of course, making their first World Cup start in slopestyle. A few of the men have been on the halfpipe World Cup tour. I think we're going to see a little bit more of that as the sport progresses within the International Ski Federation, the FIS. A few athletes doing halfpipe, a few athletes jumping across from pipe into slopestyle, but longer term I can see them diverging a little bit, and we'll not see that happen as much. There may be 1 or 2 specialists that are multi-discipline specialists that will do pipe and slope, but we shall see. So kicking things off, Christopher Hjalmeby from Sweden.
Switch left 2, gap to the down to 4, enter the double flat 9.
Setting up switch here. Back-to-back 9s.
Really nice. A little back seat there on landing. Could have done with a fractional amplitude just to get the last bit of that rotation round. Front 450 out of the rail. Back to his forward stance now.
Another 900 there. A lot of switch skiing in this run.
Yeah, that just adds to the difficulty factor, and the underflip 4 out the cannon rail as well.
Finishing on the down, that flat down rail, and Christopher Hjalmeby completes his first run. Huge double to kick things off. That right hand on the snow on landing, judges will deduct a few points there.
Yeah, they want, when the judges see the landing, they want both skis to be nice and parallel, pointing down, not drifting off to one side and having to sit on an edge to really hold it. But 3 9s in the run's really good, and this for me, that underflip out the rail, That's not the poppiest rail, not the easiest to get that rotation round off it.
That was tidy. I enjoyed that one. But the conditions as well make it a little harder for these athletes. Their visibility is not great, and when the light's flat like this, organisers have done a good job in trying to provide as much definition as they can. But it does make those landings a little bit harder when you just can't quite spot them as well. 77.6 the score for Hjalmeby. So next up will be Robin B. Jensen from Östersund in Sweden. Starts off the run switch, gapping nicely onto the rail.
Really locked in, really nice, and following it around to switch as well.
Big 900 to start off with. Now he's carrying a lot of speed into the second of the jumps.
Right side 7, just missing the grab and a little back seat. Perhaps struggling for speed a little bit. And the ski slide over the wavy tail.
There's the second 900 in the run, setting himself switch for the next of the rails. Just a little back seat on the landing.
But really nice there with the 450 out. And a little safety off to the parked car.
He just wanted to go over the car, and I do not blame him.
Wonder if they'll leave that as a feature after the World Cup's finished.
Well, what if the snow melts? Can't just be a car parked on the grass.
No, but beautiful mute grab on that first switch left 7. Switch left 9, sorry. And then there the tail grab, reaching back behind him. Makes the trick even more difficult because it does slow the rotation down as you're trying to reach back to pick out that tail.
So score 62 for Robin B. Jensen. We move on to the first of the Finnish challengers today. So Otso Räisänen, 77.6 to beat. Drops in, just tapping onto the end of the rail.
Into that right side 9, grabbing high mute.
Going left, that's nice.
Switch left 10. Wow. That is a combination to really start a run off in style.
Yeah, judges are going to like that.
And the 450 out as well. So it's becoming more of a standard trick now out of the rails. We've stopped seeing the 270s, it's now the 450s into that left 900 with the tail grab.
So a really nice run building here for Räisänen.
270 on and 630 out.
A lot of the Finnish riders are used to these kind of smaller hills, the street style. We see it on the snowboard world. We're seeing it today with the first of these of the Finnish challengers today. It's so cold and snowy everywhere that they just pop the skis on and go through the town sometimes, don't they? It brings a unique style. They really see everything as a playground for them to be super creative on. I love that.
And that really helps their style stand out at these slopestyle runs when you've got 12 skis that you're trying to battle out. Every little thing you can do to stand out really does help in the judges' eyes.
So score coming in for Otso Räisänen. But for me, we've not seen a run, neither of the women's or the 3 men that have been so far, that's been an athlete's going to walk away from and say, yeah, that was exactly how I wanted to do that.
Yeah, we've had a lot of room for improvement for run 2 coming forward. So that's going to be really exciting to see if they can tidy it up. I know conditions will play a big part into this, but there's been quite a few skiers landing on a bit tail heavy or a bit nose heavy, or slipping off the rails early. And those are the little bits that the riders really need to tidy up to get the bigger scores coming through.
Well, we'll see if anyone can manage it as this contest progresses. Score in 76.8 into second place for now. Frey Jönsson now from Sweden. So setting off switch to start the run.
Again, opting for that gap to the down part of that rail. Switch left cork 9 tail grab. Really nice execute on that one. And then into the right cork 7. So cork spins in both directions to start the run. And the nice little shifty for that little bit of style we were just talking about as well.
Just squeezing around here. So Jönsson, just for me, stepping it up a notch from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, the switch left 5 there with a really nice bonk of the skis, using the tail just to tap that barrel as he goes over it.
Oh, I love that bottom rail. Gapping onto the down flat down. And Frey Jönsson started off in style there.
Really nice run, really well put together, had a little bit of everything going through.
Locked on the grab as well. Nice mute
and that's
grab.
quite a difficult grab because it's that opposite hand, so he's actually slowing his spin down as he reaches for that one.
But he's really showing the judges there that he's made that grab, isn't he?
He is. There's that tweaking that we like to call it. Rather than just grabbing it, he's grabbing it and he's pulling his skis all the way up. So there's a little bit of signature style. The full tweak is definitely going to stand out for the judges.
So the man from Östersund in Sweden waiting on his score. So we've got 5 judges in the house for this first World Cup. Judges from Switzerland, Canada, Norway, another Swiss judge, and 1 judge from Finland. And for many of these judges, of course, as the World Cup tour develops for slopestyle, you've got to kind of just find the style of judging they want and help with the progression. But the judges work really closely with the athletes, don't they, Gaz? As we see 80.8 for Frey Jönsson, goes into top spot for now.
Yeah, the judges are always talking to the coaches and athletes before the competition, during the competition, particularly at TC meetings on the night before the contest starts, just to find out how the course is running and what the athletes think about each feature. There's sometimes different perspectives and opinions, and it's always key to get the athlete's opinion, in my opinion.
We've got to be working collaboratively for the progression of the sport, as we see Guillaume Sprava from Les Deux Alpes in France on course now.
Huge back-to-back 9s to start that run. Really nice. Got the grab in for both spins. Good amplitude. So he's already starting to tick those criteria off. And the front 450 out as well.
Sprava, a man that's been on the half-pipe World Cup tour. Now switching over to slopestyle.
And the ability to ride the pipe is really good. It's got a lot of transferable skills there onto the slopestyle course as well.
Just doesn't have rails.
It's a slight problem.
We'll be fine.
And buttering onto that down flat down as well. The switch butter on and then a front 2 gap in that final part of the rail. It's a nice bit of creativity there that'll really help stand out. The reason we don't really say style anymore in the criteria is because we're looking for well executed tricks which should be stylish, as we've just seen from that run.
Yeah, he brought his own unique approach to it, and being based out of Les Deux Alpes, got the luxury of having excellent glacier to train on in the summer. One of the best parks in Europe at the moment. And Sprava is going to get his score. See what the judges do. I think it's going to be in the 80s, but we'll wait and see. So 83.4, a new leader. Sprava into top spot. Gives him a good platform to build ahead of the second round. One of the big names now, Colby West. 3 times he's been on the podium at X Games, the biggest event in the sport. So we should see Colby West throw it down here on this first run.
Really nice start to that run with the 450 on into the misty 900 as well.
Into the 720, and Colby West showing us the best of the US in the field.
Making that rail look really nice and easy with the front 450 out. And then an 830 degree spin off that rail.
don't often see that, do you? The rails don't always allow for that.
No, and you'd almost expect a much bigger drop-off to be able to get that level of spin out. So that shows really good control on the rail as he gaps to the down rail as well with the 270 on.
So Kobe West having some fun on run number 1. At 450 on. Nice mute grab as well. Landing's a little better.
Well.
Yeah, I tweaked it out nice. And here is that huge 800?
830
830.
degrees, yeah.
Apologies, missing that last 30 degrees.
Oh yeah.
So Kobe West waiting now on that score from run number 1. It's up until slopestyle becomes part of the Olympic program. The X Games has been the one that everyone wants to win in this sport, isn't it?
It has. The X Games has always been the one that you've watched since you've been a child, and you've seen riders go through it. So that's always been the benchmark. But now there's the Olympics, which is a lot more understandable across the whole world rather than just in extreme sports. So I think we're going to see a lot of skiers now pushing for those Olympic spots, really working on bringing in new tricks, new creativity, and different kind of access into it. So that's going to be really exciting to see.
78.6 for Kobe West. Moves into 3rd spot. And I think with slopestyle ski and snowboard, of course, becoming part of the Olympic program, it's going to help take it to a new audience. Whilst you do get casual viewers of the X Games, there's usually a passion for action sports, free sports somewhere within the viewership. But for the Olympic Games, it's pretty much everyone is just tuning in. And that is going to inspire so many kids, hopefully, to take up skiing and snowboarding and hopefully find their way into the terrain parks. As Samuel Fabre from Chamonix is on course now.
Huge first 2 kicker tricks there with the left bio 9 and the cork 7 as well in switch.
It's
and
just
switch lip slide.
wrong.
It's almost like he'd got the harder part of the run out the way and just lost a little bit of concentration. Still gets the right 9 tail. Commentator's curse.
Well, you learn that in this job you happen to do that a lot to people, so we do apologise, we don't mean it. So Fabre, he's going to throw this run away. He knows it's not going to be a score that he wants. He started off well.
Yeah, unfortunately, when the standard riding gets this high, you need those clean runs, and as soon as you make any major mistake like this one, your score's not going to be anywhere near enough to challenge for a podium.
Yeah, he just didn't have the height that he needed. And 35.2 his score. 7th place. Jesper Chada, 17-year-old from Sweden. A lot of people have got some good things to say about this young man. Big things expected of him as his career develops. And if he skis like that, then no wonder.
Wow, right 4 on, 270 off in the same direction. Into
huge.
the right side, 9. Double tail grab as well.
Just coming up a fraction short, but got away with it there.
And he managed to get that double Japan grab in there as well. And it's also a blender spin, so he's looking over the wrong shoulder as he came in. So add into that technical difficulty as we see him approach the last part of this course.
He has brought a real unique style to this, challenging the judges with these grabs and little hand plant there, hand tap. But he's made such good use of the rails on this run.
He really has, and you see even the amplitude on that bonk, really having to reach out with his arms to make sure he catches it. Switch lip slide with the 270 out as well on that final rail. So for me, there's a bit of everything in that run. We had the technical difficulty of the spins, but also the execution of going for the double grabs to reach for that progression. You'll see both hands on the back of his skis. Not an easy position to reach into. And that switch left cork 5 with the Japan grab, just beautiful. It's really nice how this course lets us see the huge spins at the top part and then slows it down later on, so we get a bit of everything.
So yes, Pachada's got to be happy with that first run. But we'll see if the judges agree. Well, often when there's a longer wait, it means the judges are kind of comparing two runs, and it suggests it's pretty close to another score on the board.
Yeah, there'll be some discussions going on in the judges' stand right now. A couple of judges might favour one run, a couple of judges might favour this run. So they're just talking it out, make sure all the judges spotted all the elements to reward as well as the bits to deduct from. So this is sometimes the trickiest part of the job as a judge, is trying to balance everyone's opinions.
And the score comes in 82-2 into second place. And it's not so much about the scores, though, is it? The score is just a mechanism to get the athletes in the right order based on the quality of the runs.
It is. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's an 85 and a 90 or a 65 and a 70. As long as you get them in the right order, that's perfectly fine. But you want to use your whole scale between 0 and 100 to make sure you've got enough space to move, just in case someone does throw out the bag in a future run. Huge 450 onto that first rail.
Antti Olila on course now for Finland.
Switch right by 09 as well. That slight forward cork separating itself out. A difficult one to get right. And the back 6 out of the rail. Into another 900 over that smaller jump. Left 9 with the tail grab.
Hear the bonk there as well. So Olila putting a really nice run together here. Lovely on the bottom rail, and that down flat down gets a good cheer from the crowd as well. A lot of fans in attendance. That was a superb first run from Antti Olila.
It really was. Just perhaps missed the grab a fraction there, which the judges might pull him down for, but good amplitude and a really good landing. Got the grab further on down the run, and then ended with a really technical trick on that final rail.
There was the 900. Gets the little tap. So I think
lands almost in the flat as well at the end of that one.
I think it's going to be a very healthy score. So we've got 3 skiers still to go. And the score's in now for Olila, 90.2. First man into the 90s and into top spot. That is just push the benchmark a little higher for the rest of the field. Per Christian Hunder from Norway, the next man on course. Lovely start to the run for the Norwegian.
Yeah, another 270 on and then into
big
the 1080. And follows it up, right side spin this time, the 720 with that mute grab. So 2 good spins to start the run off. And another rider opting for the wavy tail. Quite a long rail, really difficult to lock on, but gets the front 2 out of it at the end.
Yeah, he was locked on well there. It's the mute grab landing well. So Hunder.
Oh, the roadie 450 out of that rail. Another inverted spin. Not something we see a lot, but when it comes out, it's certainly spectacular to watch.
And a fantastic first run from Per Christian Hunder. So the Norwegian got to be pretty happy with that to kick things off. You see him there locked to that mute grab with the right hand. Just has enough time to spot the landing.
Yeah, and with the size of that smaller jump, they're really having to spin that rotation round quickly.
So scoring 86.8 into second place. Olila still leads for Finland. And we've got 2 men to go on this first run. And we're going to come back and do it all again. Cyril Hunziker next up for Switzerland. Setting up now for the first of the jump. You've got to carry quite a lot of speed. So that's with the 900. That drops him in switch for the next of the jumps.
Coming in now, switch, right, 10 as well. So again, another great start to the course we've seen. With the 450 out of that rail feature.
Into the right 9. A lot of switch skiing here.
Another one opting for that bonk line instead of the rail, just to show that variety to the judges.
Making full use of the bottom rail, 270 out, and Cyril Hunziker with a great start to his contest. It's just a one man to go as well. Nicely on that tail grab.
Locked on. Really good control there on the jumps.
And
mix up the grabs as well.
10 was awesome.
So switch 10, coming in blind and landing blind, just makes that trick so much more difficult than a regular 1080.
And here is the 900. This is the final rail. Just a fraction short exiting the rail, but all good for Hunziker. .88.2 into second spot for Hunziker. One man to go. And Jyväskylä Kampainen for Finland, the last man to go on run number 1.
Switch left 270 on and the 270 off as well.
He was
a huge
boosting
left
it
900.
on that left 9. Bags of amplitude.
So another rider we've seen with back-to-back 9s. That last one, switch right, bio 9. So changing the axis up a little bit as well.
Well, liking this run, it's building something pretty special here for the Finnish skier.
Yeah, the technical 270 on and 450 off on that cannon rail as well.
And Kampainen finishes it up over the car. Much to the delight of the Finnish fans here on a pretty gloomy day in Jyväskylä, run number 1. Coming to a close, and we're starting to see these skiers really throw it down on this pretty technical course.
We certainly are. There's some huge rotations and different rotations as well, which is what we like to see. Makes the judges' job a little bit harder when you're having to compare so many different things.
Yeah, not every run is the same. That would be a sign of a course that's pretty weak. But despite the visibility not being great, or the flat light, visibility is fine. You can see a long way, but the light's pretty flat, and I've seen a lot of athletes mixing it up. A 92.4 into top spot. So run 1 comes to a close. Kampainen in top spot for Finland, going well for the host nation here. Antti Olila in second, Cyril Hunziker in third. It's pretty tightly packed in the top 4, so things could certainly change around on run number 2. It is, of course, just the best run to count. All to play for still as we move towards the second run. We'll have run number 2 for the women up first. Fantastic crowd in today. See Hunziker currently in third place. He's got a few little bits to clean up on his second run, and he could certainly move into the 90s.
He certainly has, and the judges' score will show him that he's got the tricks that can get him up onto that top spot. It's just those little executional errors that need to be tidied up.
Olila in second. Kampainen. Who leads the way. We've just seen him, he was the last man to go. For me, a little bit more amplitude. The difficulty was there, and it was probably the best grabbed run as well.
Yeah, very tidy, very nicely done, all the way from the very top right to the bottom.
So this beautiful part of the world gets ready for run number 2 for the women. Famous for rally driving. Do you know that, Gaz?
I did not know.
Finland, they produce some fast drivers. Some of the greats of rally driving from Finland. Tommi Mäkinen, the late great Henri Toivonen. From this part of the world, I believe, Juha Kankkunen. He was my favourite rally driver back in the day. Thousand Lakes Rally was one of the famous ones around here. This is plenty of lakes around here in this part of the world. It's absolutely beautiful. As we get ready for the second run. So the first ever Slopestyle World Cup competition moves into its second run. So Erikko Ida starts off run at number 2. She scored 52.6 on the first run. Oh, and she's down on the second run. That is a shame. So her first run score is going to remain her best score.
It's a shame that switch left 3 caught her out a little bit on both runs. She managed to ride out in the first run, but it was that second run just didn't seem quite so set as she took off. Coming in switch, those big kickers does have that effect on you as well.
It's good she's still going though, because she knows the fall is going to cost her. She's not going to better the first run score. Someone on crutches there, they better be careful. It's very slippy. So
maybe that's whose car it was parked at the bottom. Good access spot.
Could well be. Might be a little bit tricky if they move it though. Unless it's just been there for ages and they built the course all around it, perhaps. Do apologise, we are going to bang on about this car all event long.
But that's what's great about some of the slopestyle courses. The halfpipe is very rigid and structured. It's always kind of the same as you go from one World Cup to the next. But for slopestyle, each venue has a chance to put their own mark on it, whether they want 3 rails at the start or mixing up or adding cars in, etc. So I think we're going to see some really exciting World Cup slopestyle courses over the future.
You couldn't really put a car on a halfpipe course, as you say. I'm quite sure where it would go.
It would be slightly dangerous.
You'd be willing to judge that though, wouldn't you?
Oh, definitely. You can judge anything.
I know you do. Chiho Takao from Japan. Next up. 65.2 on the first run. Coming in switch here with good speed into the next of the jumps. With the 540.
So again, back-to-back 5s. Really nice and stepping up to the big jump as well on that first hit.
So pretty similar to the first run so far. Not a lot between them. Just gets the 360 right, but it's not grabbed and that will cost her a little bit.
Yeah, and again, it looked like she caught an edge a fraction as she took off, which is why there was that imbalance in the air. She recovered it nicely though.
And just trying to sneak a Japan grab there. Off the car. And Takao completes her 2 runs. I think the first run was a fraction cleaner for me.
I think so, yeah. This is where she was looking to get those extra points from that first run by hitting the bigger kicker, increasing the amplitude of the run. And hopefully the judges might reward it as well, but...
yeah, she's taken the risk though, and that's great to see. 62.6, so just behind her first run. Stays in 4th place for now. With a best of 65.2.
And that shows that the judges are using all the criteria, because whilst the amplitude and the difficulty got a little bit higher, the execution got lower, and that's where they're trying to find the balance in between all 5 criteria.
Giorgia Bertoncini from Italy. 54.4 on the first run.
And that lovely flat 3 Japan as well. Really nice and a little bit different to the backflip as well, so a little bit more technical. Ooh!
Nasty fall there. She's unhappy with that.
Again, just letting the jump get away from her as she took off.
Apologies, that's actually Camilla Bertoncini not starting the second run. But Camilla Berra with a nasty fall. Hopefully she's okay.
But that's where the skier's aerial awareness really comes in. When it goes wrong, being able to right themselves and get their feet down first. Lots of hours spent on the trampoline in the gym just to be able to develop that bit of aerial awareness.
So key, isn't it? You see a lot of athletes working on the trampoline, as you say, just understanding how the body interacts with the forces in the air. Then you've got the skis on your feet as well, which impacts it as well, of course. But thankfully Camilla Berra appears to be okay. She's going to complete the run, but isn't going to improve on the first run of 82.8.
Thank you.
Well, she's going to be a little disappointed there. It was there for the taking. She had a really strong first run, 82.8. Was in touching distance of a podium, but we've still got 5 skiers to go. So Camilla Berra, we'll have to watch on, see where she ends up after these 5 skiers.
And there's quite a few of those skiers still to come. We're all in that 80-point range. So we're going to see a lot of jumping around, I expect.
So 23.8 stays in second place with 5 skiers to go. It'll be a nervous wait to see if she can hang on to a spot on the podium. Natalia Slepeka, 84.6 on the first run. Highest score we had on run number 1.
Again with that left 7 mute, really nice start to the run. Plenty of speed coming to the second jump, and the right side 360. Into the back 2 out of that cannon rail.
She's putting together another solid run. Just a slight over rotation there, but not costing her too much.
Revert another 270. Oh, such a shame. The 270's out in both directions from the rails there. But that revert is going to cost her slightly.
Again, just at the bottom of the run, things look to be getting away for her. Just a fraction. But 2 good runs here in finals for Natalia Slepeka.
And it is a really long run, so by the time you get to that final feature, your heart's pumping, your legs are burning. So trying to hold it as you go through that final rail or across the car really does pay quite a lot of price on your body. But a good run locked all the way through those 2 kinks makes it quite difficult compared to the smooth rails. The little dink into the flat and then the down again can really put off your balance.
So currently Slepeka in the lead, 84.6. That was from the first run. We'll see if that's an improvement. It's not by the smallest of margins, 84.2. So she stays in top spot. 4 skiers to go. So the next skier, Ami Okubo from Japan. 59.2 on the first run.
But coming off quite early on that first rail, I want to see it locked all the way to the end into a huge left 540, but that hand drag going to play havoc with the score. Switch left 180 on the second jump.
Just maybe not quite as dialed in as she wants to be here. Getting off the rail early.
And as soon as you have one little mistake at the start of your run, it really does play on your confidence for the rest of it.
Oh, just under rotating on the 540. You say that little mistake, Gaz, and it gets in your head. And once it's there, it's pretty hard to get rid of, because one error on the run can really cost you.
Yeah, at these level of competitions, it does come down to the 0.2, 0.3 of a score. And free skiing is such a mental game as well. Having the confidence to go to the bigger tricks, and then the strength of mind just to keep going with the run, even when you've made a little mistake, and just carry on and keep pushing.
Of course, we've got to see where the judging goes as the sport develops on the World Cup Tour. Will the risk be the main factor? Or will it be even the tiniest of hand drags? Is that just going to throw your whole run away? So there's still a long way to go for this, for slopestyle to evolve as a World Cup discipline. But hey, everyone's working together to get there. 54.8 stays in 5th place. Her best run of coming on run number 1. So Evelyn Bend up next. 72.8 from the first run.
She was the first skier we saw throw the back-to-back 7s in that first run as well, so interesting to see if she just tries to tidy them up or maybe takes it a little bit further.
I think she's going to go for it on this run. That's a good start to run number 2.
That's what we like to see, that misty 7. Into the left 7, so both 7s a little bit tighter than they were in that first run as well.
Yeah, it's definitely an improvement so far, but she's still got a bit of the course to go. And Evelyn Bend putting down a lovely run here. That was a nice 360.
Spinning to the right there as well as the left. And that left bonk as well. Really nice contact with the ball.
Setting up for the final hit, the car. All nice and clean, and Evelyn Bend with a lovely second run.
And that was really sensible right at the end of the run, because that was where it came undone a little bit in run 2. In run 1, sorry. She went for that 270 onto the car feature, but realised that actually if she just tidied up a simpler trick, it's going to reward her higher.
Yeah, she's taking the risk early in the run, just about getting the mute grab there, and then, as you say, just by then controlling it. That's pretty smart tactics from Bend. So we'll see if the judges reward that second run. 72.8 on the first run. I think that's a stronger run, and she could be pushing herself into the 80s here. So we'll wait and see. Is in the hands of the judges. There are 5 judges here in Jyväskylä.
It's certainly a run that can contend for those top 3 spaces.
Yeah, looked particularly the top hits were really impressive. Scores in now. Oh, into top spot, 85.8. Evelyn Bend is the new leader with 3 skiers to go. So Susanna Stromkova fell on the first run.
Gap into that down, which gives her plenty of speed coming to this first jump.
There was the
Huge
7.
left rodeo 7. Ooh, how she managed to sneak that final part of the rotation round.
Thought it was a 5, but she managed to pull it out of the bag. And Stromkova, she's absolutely charging here.
She just holds onto that one as well.
It's a little scrappy in places, but particularly on landing, but this is a solid run.
She's getting those rotations out the rails as well. It's not just like she's trying to get past the rails. She is executing some really nice tricks all the way to that down, flat down rail.
She made full use of that bottom rail. And Stromkova, after problems on run number 1, has stepped it up on run 2. And whatever happens with the score, she's going to be happy with how she's performed with that little bit extra pressure of having to do it on 1 run.
And as I was saying before, with that strength of mind and being able to pull yourself up from falling in your first run when you know you've got to make it count in your second run, really strong athletes can deal with it, and that's what we've just seen here.
Hej. Zdravím, mamku, tatka, čaute.
So we'll wait and see now. Score coming in. Well, we definitely know it's going to be an improvement, but where will that run place her in the final standings? Just one skier to go as well.
And the judges will be talking through all of that run, looking at every single hit as they go down, comparing it to the other skiers that we've got in the top three. Trying to find that place where she fits. Is it between 1 and 2? Is it the top spot?
Evelyn Bend leading the way at the moment, 85.8 and 83.4. She's in third spot for now. Fantastic improvement from Stromkova. But there's one skier to go, Lynn Idamurud. Now she fell on the first run, so has a lot of pressure here.
And we've seen from that first run, she's definitely got the tricks to make it happen, but whether she can put it all the way through. Really nice in that first feature though. Sets her up nicely coming into the first jump.
Huge 7, and she's got to find the connection between the tricks, and it's looking good so far. Floats the 360 round nicely, so she's had good amplitude so far on all of her hits. Now let's see just what her rail game's made of.
Nice style coming out of that cannon rail as well. Nicely all the way to the end, into the left 540, grabbing safety.
Carrying good speed here. Just holding it together, so real strong run from Murud. Into the final hit. And in the house, so Murud with a big improvement, of course, on the second run. But where is that going to place her? She had some of the best amplitude that we've seen out of anyone.
And the execution almost top to bottom was nearly flawless. Just a couple of missed grabs, but other than that was outstanding to watch.
For me, the landings were quite a lot cleaner than the likes of Evelyn Bend and Slipeka. And that might just be the difference that pushes her ahead. She wasn't scrappy on the landings, so I know you guys like to judge the landings pretty carefully, so we'll see just what that does with the score.
And it is those fine little details that come into play when the judges are trying to determine where to rank the rider.
So she's looking on pretty nervously here. She knows that was a good run. She's seen 8 skiers go before her. And is she going to be on the podium in the first ever World Cup, FIS World Cup slopestyle? Nervous wait here. Have a nice spin in this position. You've done all you can do. You've got to hand it over to the judges. Let them do their work. Watching the scoreboard nervously. Just keeping an eye on it. We'll see when the computer flashes up the score. Just got to stand there and smile and hope you get the result that you're after. But still no score yet. It's in now, 86.4 into top spot, and Murad, the last skier to go on the second run in the contest, grabs the victory here in Jyväskylä. The Norwegian will go down in a little bit of history as the first ever winner of a World Cup ski slopestyle event. 86.4, just ahead of Bend in second. Slipeka in third place, and it was pretty tight in the top 5. But that final run from the Norwegian Gaz was just that little bit cleaner than everything else.
It certainly was. Really nice to see the standard just getting pushed up every little bit as we went through that run. The Stevens really coming out, the different rail tricks as well, and the grabs on point all the way through. Really well deserved on that final run.
Evelyn Bend in second. She had a big improvement up to 85.8. Slightly better grab, brought the variety in, really cleaned the run up. There was the 360, but Lynn Idamurud from Norway, for me, got more amplitude, took the risk, grabbed the tricks better, had the variety in there and landed them a little bit cleaner than the rest of the field. So there is our top three. Murat, Bend and Slepeka. First ever podium in a ski slopestyle World Cup. And of course many of these athletes will have their eyes on the 2014 Olympics. Qualifying will start for next season. So we're going to see certainly more than the 2 World Cups we have planned for this year. And I think with the Olympics and the qualifying about to start, we're going to see more of the North Americans come over. And certainly the rest of Europe as well are really going to get involved. And that's just going to push the level even more.
As we get more and more skiers coming into that field, the competition is going to get even tighter and the standard is just going to go sky high. But it's great for these ladies. They've got that first bit of World Cup experience in there. Something to bounce on into the qualification year. And I'm sure we'll see plenty more from them in the coming seasons.
So run number 2 for the men gets underway. Christopher Hjalmeby of Sweden on course.
Again, that double flat 9, a nice little different trick that we didn't see from any of the other skiers in run 1. Into the switch bio 9 as well. So again, back-to-back 9s, nice bit of amplitude and really tech on that first rail coming out forward as well. So it's and the front 450.
Good run building here for the Swede. Oh, he's just holds on the 900. And Hjalmeby. Oh, he's a little on the tails, he's down, and that's the whole run thrown away. Oh, that is a shame for the Swedish skier.
Just the smallest of errors as he comes in for landing just unravels the whole run. Nice little front swap on the last rail though still.
Yeah, switched it up nicely on the rail, but great start to the run.
Such a lovely axis to rotate on for that first kicker trick as well, with the double flat spin.
There was the 900 and Hjalmeby 38.6, so his first run will remain his best, 77.6, 9th place at the moment for the Swede. Robin Jensen from Sweden, 62 on the first run. And the skier from Östersund starts off well on the top rail.
Yeah, the switch 270 gap on into the switch 1080. Follows up, slows it down a little bit, just a 540 on that second kicker trick.
Yeah, sets him up forwards for this next rail. She makes full use of.
Such a hard rail to lock onto with the difference in transition. And the hand drag 360 with the safety grab as well. Another little creative mark on the run.
It's a little scrappy in place. He's not quite grabbing as well as he might like into the final rail. And Jensen completes his 2 runs. Lovely switch.
But taking it up a notch there from that first run as well. It was only a 900 on that first kicker trick in run 1. Build it into the run 2 with a 1080. Just changes the whole dynamic of the run. And then that little bit of style towards the end with the hand drag 360.
So 57.2, just a little down on his first run, 11th place for Jensen. Otso Räisänen from Finland, 76.8 on the first run. Coming in forwards, first of the rails.
Another skier going for that 270 gap to the down. Into the 900. Really nice grab there with mute and locking the legs as well for a bit of extra style.
Oh, coming up just a little short on the 10. Switch 1080 though.
Somehow managed to hang on to it. And the 450 out of the rail as well. So he's going to keep it going even though he's made that mistake.
A little mistake certainly could cost them. But he's still putting down a solid second run.
Rotating on and off that cannon rail as well. It's really hard to rotate onto a rail that's upwards like that cannon rail just because it doesn't naturally suit the way you feel like the kicker might throw you onto it. A lovely start to the run. There's the 270 on and the 450 off. Much nicer than in run 1, but unfortunately the rest of the mistakes costing him a few points.
Just a little down on that first run. So run 1 remains his best. Frey Johnson now 80.8 on the first run. The Swedish skier from Östersund going big on the... Oh, he just got away with that.
Just sneaking that final bit of rotation round as he came into land. Manages to hold it together into the second kicker though, but just losing that little bit of amplitude. Wonderful rotation out of that rail with the 630.
Like we've seen on the first run.
Skiing.
I was just about to say, a lot of switch skiing. Almost gapping the entire bottom rail. And Johnson in the finish. 2 full runs completed. 80.8 on the first run. I think that mistake there is just going to pull the score down a little.
Unfortunately, just landing at the very top of the landing on that knuckle, having to squeeze as much speed as he could out of his skis for the remainder of the course.
So Jonsson's score, don't think it'll be an improvement on his first run. It's not 75 for 7th place for now. So Guillem Sprava 83.4 on the first run. And the man from Les Alpes now starts his
lovely
second
little back
run
swap
off.
as he goes from the flat to the down.
Into the left 900. So that lands. Switch sets him up nicely for the back-to-back 9s. The left 9 into the right 9.
And then a lovely 450 out there. So starting to see all that technical difficulty come through.
Just a little mistake on the landing though, that could be a problem.
Oh, lovely Rodeo 5 hand plant over that bonk. Certainly different to what we've seen from a lot of the other skiers, but then he knows those mistakes earlier on is going to cost him with the revert round as well.
Yeah, that's a throwaway. 83.4 on the first run. This is going to be down by a tiny amount, or might be a big amount. We'll find out soon. And that was the big mistake, though, that's cost him.
Yeah, unfortunately, so it was building up to that point and just doesn't quite get his edge into land and sits on that hip as he goes over.
65 the score, 5th place for the time being for Sprava. As we move on, Colby West, 78.6. So the man from the USA that's got 3 X Games bronze medals. Oh, that's a great start to the run.
Lovely rotation onto that ram rail. Switch by 9, absolutely huge on the amplitude as well.
He's stomped it so far.
And again, that tweak as well with the mute grab, adding the individual style to the spin. The front 450 out.
This is a really strong run brewing for Colby West here.
There we go, that 810 out of that cannon rail as well. Cleaner than on run 1. Slows it down for that switch left one with the nose bonk as well. Nice stylish addition to the run.
So 1 hit to go for Colby West, and he sticks it. So the American has just laid down a challenge, and he looks a little bit happier. The rest of the field are going to have to find another gear to go into. Just love how he's locked on every single grab, tweaking the mute grab out, making it look so effortless. There was that
That
8-10.
8-10 out. Absolutely wonderful to see. And so clean on that final gap to the down as well. Spots it really nicely as he's blind as he comes in.
So Kobe West 78.6 on the first run. Should be a big improvement here.
Oh, it's so tiring. I'm so happy that's over.
Well, yeah, I'm not surprised it's tiring. It is quite a long track, a long setup. Thankfully, they don't have altitude to deal with here.
Okay,
Oh, the score's in. 91.6 moves Kobe West up to second place.
all right.
Fantastic run for Kobe West. Now he's got to watch the rest of the field take to the course. Now from France, Samuel Fabre from Chamonix. Fell on the first run.
Nice start to the second run though. Going for that double grab on the Bio 9.
Yeah, it's coming together a little better on run 2 here for Fabre.
The lip slide with the pretzel 270 out as well. Really nice technical rail there.
Into the 900, lands it cleanly. Samuel Fabre. Oh, just sneaks around, just hangs on. One hit to go for the Frenchman. Sent up for the down flat down rail. Nice.
Nice run put together there. Held on all the way to the end of that down flat down rail at the end. There you can see him, 2 hands on the ski. Just makes the trick so much harder because you haven't got that extra arm to try pull the rotation round.
There was the 900, gets the bonk.
Almost looked like he bonked a little bit too hard, which is why it set him off a little bit as he came in.
Threw him off balance a little, but after falling on the first run, scoring 35.2, we're definitely seeing an improvement from Fabre. So Fabre still waiting on his score. He'll be hoping it moves some into the 90s. I think it might be a little below that. It is 85.4. Good improvement, but the way this field is stacked, it's just good enough for 6th place. Yes, Bachata 82.2 on the first run. And 17-year-old bringing unique style to proceedings.
It's such a lovely 900 with that double tail grab. Into that blender 7 as well, grabbing double Japan as he goes through. And they switch, slide on the rail, front 450 out.
Another skier that just looks so loose, so relaxed on the skis. For the hand plant, what would you call it?
I'd go with a hand plant, particularly for what we've just seen from Jess Pachada.
Yeah.
Very much a plant.
And in the finish area, after the down flat down rail, yes, Bachata. 2 really solid runs.
Yeah, that 450 on that first rail with a 270 out. Very technical to be able to get that slide nicely between the rotations. And full extension there on the double tail.
Landings were pretty clean. Run was well grabbed.
It's very similar to what we saw in that first one, just a few little bits trying to increase the difficulty. That hand plant 5 looking very nice.
So yes, Bachata with 82.2 on the first run. Is this going to be an improvement? 2 very similar runs from the young Swedish skier. But we'll see just what the judges make of it. How are they going to reward that run from Chatter. Scores it now. It's 83. So a fraction of an improvement. 8th place for Jesper Chatter with 4 skiers still to go. Antti Olila. 90.2 on the first run.
Huge 450 onto that down rail.
He's bringing
And
that
a switch 10 as well.
switch 10. Impressive, bringing the amplitude, bringing the style to run number 2.
Yeah, the combination of that switch 10 into the switch 9, really high up on the difficulty level. 630 out of the rail as well.
This is looking good again. He was in the 90s on run number 1, trying to find another score in the 90s, maybe grab a podium on home snow. And Olila with 1 hit to go, setting up for the down flat down rail. Switches it up. That's a good way to finish the run.
Very nice. Amps it up a little bit from run 1. We didn't see the 270 out of the rail in run 1 at the very end, but he knows he needed to do that little bit extra to get him up there. So just a little bit of extra difficulty, a little bit of extra cleanliness and execution. Huge amplitude on the kickers as well, so really nice run all the way through.
His teammate Kampainen still leads 92.4 from run number 1. Colby West in second. Moved up to 91.6 in the second run. Where is Olila going to place after that run? So it really looked fairly similar to the first run, but that's no bad thing because he was in the 90s. So seeing where the judges are going to mark that one.
Yeah, they've just been trying to tidy up a few bits.
Little improvement, 90.6, third place for now behind Colby West and Kemppainen. 3 to go. Per Christian Hunder, 86.8. I think you're going to have to go into the 90s to try and have a good chance of getting on the podium. Well, you are going to have to go into the 90s. I'll change that, but you have to go deep into the 90s if you want to win this one.
And just as we see, 2 brilliant kicker tricks, both going huge on amplitude, very deep into the landings, into that difficult wavy tail rail, front 450 out.
And this is looking really strong, definitely stepping it up from the first run. Well grabbed, landings are clean. Oh, that's lovely from Hunder. Just 1 hit to go now. He's going for the down flat down. What has he got in store here? Just so smooth, and Hunder. Well, I wonder if he thinks that was better. He might know that was a little better. Tweak that mute grab out beautifully.
And held on for almost all of the rotation. That's what the judges do like to see. It's good execution of rotational trick if you can hold the grab all the way through. And really nice off the end of that. Being able to hold that rotation after such a long rail is really quite difficult.
It was the 900 with the mute grab again. So Hundo now is watching the scoreboard carefully. Still got 2 skiers to go. Kemppainen will be the last man to go. He's already in the 90s. 92.4. Still the best score we've seen. But can Hundo move into contention for a podium place? 86.8 on the first run. So an improvement of 5 or 6 points going to move Hundo up the standings, and that was a real good run from Per Christian Hunder.
Certainly giving the judges a lot to think about.
So score coming in now, 92.2, up to second place. Superb improvement from Hunder. 2 skiers to go. And with 1 man ahead of him, at the moment he'll be the last man to go. Hunder guaranteed a podium place. Cyril Hunziker starts off his second run and making it look good already.
Lovely on that first kicker with the left 900, grabbing that tail with his opposite hand.
Oh, into the switch 1080.
Really clean on the landing there as well.
Hunziker meaning business here.
Front 4 out of that switch rail slide.
And into the 900. This is a really technical run. It's a really smooth run. It's well grabbed so far. It's finding a little more on each of the features than what we've seen so far. Onto the final hit.
Oh, switch onto the car. Lovely way to end that run.
And Hunziker, well, that was pretty special. It is.
Landings on point all the way down that run.
Yeah, he landed just floating down onto the snow, and it's keeping the speed from feature to feature. He was flowing so nicely down the course.
So good. And the grabs were there all the way through. You see that tail grab on the 900 and the switch left 7 with the little bonk as he goes over.
So Hunziker gets a score of 94.8 into top spot. That's the best score we've seen of the day, and a nice improvement from Cyril Hunziker, and he's just got 1 man to watch to see if he can hang on for the victory. And the UC Kemppainen, AJ Kemppainen, has been in the lead until now. He's in second spot on home snow. What can he pull out the bag on this final run? The last man to take to the course here in Jyväskylä. He's got a lot of support here in the finish, but he's just seen Hunziker throw down a special run. So this is going to have to be very good from Kemppainen.
Switch left 2 on, 270 off, so good, nice feature to start things off.
Bags of amplitude on the top jump. He's got a lot of speed coming into this next jump.
Into the Bio 9. Wonderful little rotation there.
So making full use of the rail, just a little under rotated coming off.
Just slipped off that rail a fraction before the end, which didn't give him the time to get the rotation round.
I wonder if that might be the difference in the end. There's still time in this run.
He's still charging ahead though, trying to link all those tricks together.
He's doing a great job of it, and Kemppainen in the finish. 2 great runs from the Finnish skier. 92.4 on the first run, and there wasn't a lot wrong with that. But is it going to be enough to get ahead of Hunziker, who's on 94.8?
That amplitude at that start of the run really set the tone for the rest of the run there. 2 very nice kicker tricks to start things off. And this 9 with the double tail grab. And then a 270 on, 450 out of the cannon rail.
So Kemppainen based up in Rukka needs an improvement. 2.5 points from his first run to go back into top spot. He'll be on the podium, of course. Whatever happens, he's guaranteed second. Colby West is the man that's going to miss out. Hunder's going to finish in third. West will finish in fourth. It's all about first or second. Hunziker 94.8. Kemppainen 92.4 from the first run. But the first ever Slopestyle Ski World Cup is in the hands of the judges after the final skier has completed his run. Might be a bit of a wait again. We'll see. Hopefully not too far away from getting a score for the Finnish skier. He's doing all he can to look nice and cool, but inside he'll be feeling it. He'd love to get a win, not just because it's the first World Cup, but because it's right here in Finland as well. on home snow. Scores it now. It's 92.4, same as the first run. So he's going to finish in second. Oh, he looks just a little disappointed with that, but there's the smile. Second place today for the Finnish skier. But Hunziker, today's winner, and that second run from the Swiss skier just pushed them ahead of the rest of the field.
And you can see 5 scores in the 90s there. Really shows how much the riders were pushing each other, and the scores just having to get tighter and tighter as we got to the top. But Cyril Hunziker, outstanding skiing on that second run. Really nice to see. Put it all together really nicely. Had everything in that run.
He really delivered when it mattered on the second run. And under a bit of pressure, Hunziker got the job done. Let's look back at the top 3 today. In third place, it's not Colby West, it's Hunder. But we're going to watch Colby. No, it's not Colby West, that is Hunder we're seeing on screen.
That rodeo out of that cannon pipe just looks so smooth and so controlled.
This, of course, Kemppainen on screen. Please ignore the graphic.
And such lovely style on the kicker. Nice and clean on all the landings.
And that really was the difference for Hunziker on the top step of the podium. What a victory for Cyril Hunziker. There's the top 3. Men, the top 3 women will have the prize giving ceremony in just a few moments' time. And it'll be a prize giving ceremony that these athletes will remember. The awards ceremony taking place right here in the finish area in front of a big crowd, and good to see Finnish skier on the podium. So we're going to look back at we'll get the World Cup standings at some point. Chance to look down. Not the biggest of hills in this part of the world, but great terrain, particularly for slopestyle skiing. I think we're going to see a lot of Finnish skiers and snowboarders over the next few years at the top end of World Cup competition. Of course, World Championships next season. And then the Olympic Games just a fraction under 2 years' time where this discipline makes its debut. Next season, Gaz, is going to be a busier one. We actually start in not too long time in Argentina, in Ushuaia. Then we go to Copper Mountain. It's a great setup in Copper Mountain. Silva Plana, we've got a test event in Sochi. And then we finish up in the south of Spain in Sierra Nevada. So 5 World Cup events up from the 2 that we've got this season, and that'll give these athletes a chance to really plan their season out in a bit more detail, because they'll be trying to get those qualifying points to grab the quota place for Sochi Games.
It's going to be a very hectic season next year, because obviously the earlier you can get those points up to the quota level, the more relaxed you can be for the rest of the season. You don't want to be waiting until the very last competition before the games to try and get your spot. You want that preparation time to be able to work on those new tricks to bring them out for the Olympics.
Of course, many of these athletes, they'll train together. Such great camaraderie in this sport. It's all about progression, and now some more eyes on it with it being part of the FIS World Cup program. I think you're going to see, after the show that we've had today, I think a few more athletes heading across to the FIS Tour. I know there's a lot of strong events out in the US and various pro events around the world, but the FIS World Cup Tour is where you have to be at the moment if you want to get to the Olympic Games, as the podium awards ceremony is going to begin. In third place today in the women's event, Natalia Slepeka from Slovakia. Gets the check for 2,000 Swiss francs. So good skiing from Slepeka. 2 strong runs in the 80s. Evelyn Bend in second for Switzerland. Really good improvement on her second run. She was 72.8 on the first run, 85.8 on run number 2. 3,300 Swiss francs go her way. And today's winner, Linn Ida Murud from Norway. She had problems on the first run, 47 the score, and under a lot of pressure really stepped it up, 86.4. Great improvement, showing Gaz that she can handle the pressure.
She certainly can. She had it all to play for in that second run, and she just took it all the way to the very end. Plenty of difficulty in there, plenty of amplitude, perfect execution. Brilliant to see some skiing like that today.
Yeah, great display here in Jyväskylä. And fairly challenging conditions, not the coldest day you'll ever have, especially in this part of the world, but not great visibility. As we turn our attention over to the men's awards ceremony. So from Norway, Per Christian Hunder. He went into the 90s on run number 2, 92.2. 5 skiers ending up in the 90s. And if this is what we've got to look forward to as things progress, it's going to be some sport to be around. We've got another World Cup on the 3rd of March in Mammoth Mountain, California. Gaz, I know that's a place you particularly enjoy.
Yeah, Mammoth's got a wonderful slopestyle course out there. And I know a lot of these skiers will be challenging for that podium once again.
Absolutely, we're going to see a lot of the US athletes compete in that World Cup. Kemppainen in second place for Finland. 2 great scores, 92.4 on both runs. What a high level of riding that was. But Cyril Hunziker, today's winner, 88.2 on the first run and threw down a huge second run, 94.8. Just put himself clear of the rest of the field. And when we look back at this contest, Gaz, you can really just see he was just that little bit ahead of everyone else, just with the amplitude, the grabs, and just the all-round quality of the run.
It was an amazing run, had a bit of balance, as you say, from everything. Really nice technical, clean rail tricks, but had the amplitude and the difficulty on the kickers as well. So managed to find that balance between the style element and the trick difficulty and pulled it off brilliantly in the end.
So Hunziker, the first man to win a slopestyle event on the World Cup Tour. And in a stacked field, a really high quality event, both the women's and the men's contest. Not a lot between the athletes. And with this being the first World Cup, the current day World Cup standings will be as things finish today. 100 World Cup points for a win. 80 for second, 60 for third, 50 for fourth, 45 for fifth. And these World Cup points will become more and more valuable as this discipline progresses. Hunziker, of course, leads the men's standings. We'll see how it plays out in just over a week's time in Mammoth Mountain, California. A lot of these athletes will travel, but as we were saying, quite a few of the top US skiers are going to take part in that event in Mammoth. So Gaz, it's been a lot of fun bringing the first ever Ski Slopestyle World Cup. Great fun to call it alongside you. Any takeaways, any final thoughts from you on this contest and where this sport might go in the future?
Oh, it's just all across the board. It's an outstanding level of skiing. Even though the conditions weren't perfect, a lot of the skiers managing to pull those really big tricks out of the bag, and it just got so tight at the top that you can see as this sport goes further and further over the next few years, we're just going to see that difficulty level get amped up by more spins, more corks, different axes, new rail tricks, different grab combinations. It's a really exciting future ahead of the sport.
Absolutely, the progression is going to be off the charts, particularly as we get closer to the Olympic Games. in just a couple of years' time, and we're going to see more and more athletes get involved and try and push the current world's best. That's only a good thing for the sport. Lots more national teams are going to get formed. Professionalism is going to go through the roof. But most importantly, the sport remains true to its free sports roots, and it's certainly not got any danger of losing that. Great display here in Jyväskylä, Finland. It's been so much fun. From myself, Ian Finley, and from Gaz Vogan, thank you so much for your company. We'll see you again very soon.